is Michael, Michelle's dad.
That's Michelle.
You know Michelle. Hi. Okay, I'll just be totally honest with you that we've had a few different explanations of what we were supposed to be doing at this time, and so as opposed to me trying to choose between those various things that they told us, scenarios, how about I just ask you what your expectation was, because we're pretty flexible here. So we have a number of different ways we could run this session. So does anybody have any sort of clear idea of what they thought they were going to see when they came to this town? Yes?
Do music.
Just do music, okay. Anything else?
Hear her sweet bell rendition of Hush Now, Quiet Now.
Ooh, maybe we can do that. Okay. Yes?
Oh, I was or how she auditioned, had the story of how she decided to audition for Apple Bloom and.
So maybe some Q&A, some questions and answers.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Song request.
Song requests. Okay. Anything else? Just
Getting to sing along?
getting to sing along. Well, that is what we did that in at Clydesdale Congress in Virginia, and that worked out really well. So we can do some of that too. How many of you guys sing at all, like for fun, professionally, amateur, anyways? Lots of people. Okay,
All three of those.
Maybe do we want to?
You're not even in choir. You can talk.
Do we want to vote?
well, I think we can actually cover a few of those.
Okay, sure.
All right. I think I should turn my phone off. I did that. Okay, good. Let's see. And does anybody have a schedule?
I did.
Okay. Can you tell me what time her other panel is
The
again?
voice acting panel?
Yeah.
It's 6 to 7.
6
Yeah,
to
6 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And how long in that schedule does it say this session is?
Yeah, an hour.
No, an hour and a half.
It says 3:30 to 5?
Until 5, yeah.
Okay. And
3:30
then
to
there's an
4:30.
hour.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Beth. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, good.
Good.
Yeah, it says 4:30. Ow. Yeah, 3 to 4:30.
Okay, so first of all, just to answer just a little bit of about the songs, just want to make sure you guys all know that Michelle's doing a full performance tonight. So there will, with the band and the PA system and all that kind of stuff, she'll be opening up for Hey Ocean. So you will see some definite song action then. And in here we can do some things for fun. We don't have any PA, and we don't. Mike has got some tracks that we can use. But this will be more casual for sure, okay? So maybe, what we did in Clydesdale that worked really well is we actually did some things where we broke down one of the songs that she did with Mangophony on her Timeless Songs of a Century album. And so we broke that down in terms of what we call the Bee Gees, the background vocals, and kind of had everybody, we taught it to everybody, and then did that with Michelle singing, we everybody else did it on the back. And then actually a lot of those people came up and did it with us in concert, so we can do that if anybody's interested in coming up. We can have a crowd of background singers on stage with us. Is that something that interests anybody? Like,
Yes.
Yes? Cool, okay, well then that's what we'll focus on. But maybe let's do a couple of Q&As first of all. And we'll start with the gentleman at the back there, the younger lad. Do you want to stand up and ask your question more thoroughly? Go ahead.
Oh, my question was, how did you hear the audition for Apple Bloom and that was the role, and also how she auditioned for Sweet Doll Singing Voice?
Okay.
Well, when you're a voice actor, you usually have an agent if you're doing work professionally. And so my agent, emailed us the sides and told us when, we were going to go into the studio and do the audition.
But first of all, I should just clarify, a lot of people might not know what sides are.
Okay. Well, sides are just like maybe 2 or 3 pages of script that you audition for the character with. And, usually covers like a different variety of things, little clips, just to make sure that, they know that you can do the role in a bunch of different situations and, where the character will go in the story. And so yeah, I auditioned, and I auditioned for a few different characters, because that's usually what you do. And I ended up getting Apple Bloom, and they knew I could sing too. Daniel, I've known Daniel for a long time, and I also, singing.
You had sung Martha Speaks with Daniel before MLP, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they knew I could sing, and Claire's a good singer. She's just not comfortable with, singing like as a, in a show or on stage, right? So they just wondered if I could do it, and I said, yeah, sure. So that's how I got those 2 roles. Yes.
How was it working on Santa Claus?
Santa Claus? Oh, it was really fun. Yeah, it was awesome. It was my first sort of big thing. It was Disney too, so everything was really well organized, and all the people were so nice and really good with kids, and there was the other 4 or 5 girls, and we got along really well, and yeah, it was a really fun experience, especially the dogs too, because I love dogs.
And the little white dog that's the puppy in the Search for Santa Claus, there's actually 3 identical puppies.
Yeah.
And they just.
Then once one gets really tired and just doesn't start doing the tricks, right, they're like, okay, Sam, you go in. And, yeah.
How old are they? They're like just a few months old.
Oh yeah, they're just in.
They're just.
And then if the dogs got like too comfortable, like there's this one scene when they're in the orphanage and the kids are all around the dog and the dog's talking on the bed, and Michelle leans in to do her line and the dog just starts going, and so they go, okay, next dog. That one has to have a break because no one could keep it together. Go ahead.
This is a Speedy and I forgot the.
No, you're right. Speedy and Stretch.
Speedy and Stretch episode. How long does a usual Speedy and Stretch episode take?
To make one?
Yeah, to make one.
See, that's not.
Good
It's
question.
not really
It's a very good question.
it's not really a specific amount of time because it was kind of a weird way we filmed it. Everything was sort of out of order, and then we just put it together. Yeah, it kind
It
of.
depends what the pieces are in any given episode. Sometimes, does everybody know what Speedy and Stretch is? Okay, yeah, so Speedy and Stretch is on Michelle's YouTube channel. It's a variety show with comedy sketches, some original, some classic. For example, there's some Abbott and Costello, there's some Monty Python, there's some Saturday Night Live, there's some great classics, like, I don't know if you know the Christopher Walken, Don't Fear the, it's like the more cowbell based on the Blue Oyster Cult song. We did a takeoff on that where you'd have to go watch it, but Michelle does it with a triangle instead of a cowbell. And then they write original stuff, and then there's music videos. So sometimes, we did a whole bunch of filming last May and June, I guess, and July, and then have been editing those together for the first 6 episodes. But now we were just, Michelle does it with her friend Natalie, and we were just talking with Natalie. In fact, Natalie was going to come here. Sorry, that didn't work out. But we're going to do it now where we make the segments smaller so it doesn't take so long between each episode. And but yeah, check it out on Michelle Creber on YouTube, and check out a few because there's different stuff that appeals to different tastes of humor in there. Back there.
When did you start acting, and did a talent agent find you, or did you find a talent agent yourself?
I've been acting for a long time on stage, ever since, I could basically walk. But I started voice acting when I was about 6. When I was about 4, because I did some work on some of the stuff that Dad was doing, and that's how I got introduced to it. But yeah, we went looking for an agent because agents, a real agent doesn't go usually looking for people. If they see a person that they like, they might say, okay, look, I'm an agent, or I'm on board.
You can submit to them, but if you ever see somebody advertising that they're an agent, or if you ever see somebody telling you that there's a fee to, for them to take you on as a client, then you can pretty much be assured that they're not actually a legitimate agent. Because the way it works with legitimate agents is usually they're too busy to go looking for clients or for people for their roster. But they do accept submissions. Most of the websites for the agencies will tell you how to submit, and you might be able to get them on the phone or get them by email or something like that. And so it doesn't mean that they're not that they don't have holes in their roster. We're going, yes, we really do need a 14-year-old boy right now, or whatever it is. They will take on new people, but usually you have to go by them. And then sometimes, in Michelle's case, we did go looking for the first one, but we were looking for voiceover, and then the first one we went to see said, I don't do voiceover, I only do film and TV, and I'd like to take you for that. And so then Michelle said she wanted to do it. We hadn't even considered film and TV, and so we went with her for a couple of years, and then she booked the role. There was this whole Charlie Brown thing where they recast the original characters, and they put it out to all the agents because they were really having trouble finding this cast. So they looked in LA, and they looked in New York, and they looked in Toronto, and then they decided to look in Vancouver. And so instead of just putting out this information to the voiceover agents, they put it out to all the acting agents because they were having trouble just finding people. And she booked the role of Lucy, which was awesome. And so it was very ironic because she didn't even have a voice agent, but she got it through her other agent. And then after that, the agent that we really wanted to get for her actually contacted us. So I was busy going, okay, I don't want to try to contact her until we get, a good sample together. And then while we were waiting for me to do that, she actually phoned me. I'm like, okay, that was easier. So yeah, go ahead.
Kind of like this question, going off of you and this other person is, how long have you been singing, and how do you know what to submit to an agent exactly?
Okay, well, I'll ask the first question and then you should answer the second
Sure.
question. I've been singing for way too long.
Says the 13-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't remember.
Well, let's put it this way. We were pushing around in the shopping cart in a grocery store, and she's standing in there singing at the top of her lungs. Everybody, and she was about 1.5 years old. So she started early.
And what I would do is when I started teaching, I had been teaching for many years, and I resumed teaching 2 months after she was born. And we had a studio in our home, and instead of getting a babysitter for her, I would just put her in her stroller and park her in my classroom, and she would watch hundreds and hundreds of hours of music lessons. So she, before she was even talking or anything, she'd already been through so many hours of music lessons, and she was fascinated to watch. So it worked out really well. Sorry.
No, you answered the second question. No, you answered the first question.
Oh.
What to submit to an agent?
What was that, the second part? So you mean what to submit if you were wanting them to consider you as a client on their roster?
Yeah.
Okay, well, ideally what you would do, for voiceover specifically?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to come up with a reel. It doesn't have to be long. Always remember quality over quantity. That's really the biggest thing. It could be, I would say, somewhere between 2 to 5 minutes long. And just pick, you can go to a studio, or maybe you have your own home recording equipment. You can actually, depending on what size of a city you live in, you can find people who specifically do the job of putting voiceover reels together. You can also do it long distance with people like Michael or I. You can do Skype sessions where people can coach you on that kind of stuff. But if you're in a major center, there will be people, if you prefer to do it in person, there are people who do that kind of thing. Or you can do it on your own. But just try to decide, am I looking for animation voices? Do I have a collection of character voices? Maybe get some coaching on the voices that you have. Pick some segments. You can use dialogue that already exists out there, or you can write original dialogue and record a little bit more than you want, and then listen to it, sit with it for a while, listen to it over and over again, find what you think are the best pieces and string those together on one recording. And if you go online, you can go to agencies or online voiceover voice banks, and you can hear hundreds and thousands of samples. You can go to you know, adult guys or teenage guys or kids or women. You can just look up specific categories and listen to many of them and get tons of ideas that way too.
What advice do you have for people who want to be a voice actor for TV shows like My Little Pony?
Well, it's you know, it's just one of those things where there is a little bit of luck, you know. It also depends, you know, where you are, like where you are, as in like, is there voiceover jobs in your city?
Geographically.
Yeah, and like, so your question is, what is your advice, you know, if you want to get into the business?
Is that your question?
Yes.
What, do you live in a big center?
I live in Cape.
It's like next door to Houston, not too far.
Yeah.
Okay,
Close to a big
so you're close to a big center, like you can get into Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand there actually is a lot of voiceover work in Houston, because when we did Animate Miami, all the other VAs except for the MLP ones were from Houston, so there must
So you're in a
be.
good place.
There was about six or eight of them.
Ooh, actually.
Yeah. So you might be in a good place, you know, and so did she finish answering the main part of your question?
I don't think
forget
I
it,
did.
sorry.
I just, you know, I remember Tara Strong said that it's not about having a bunch of voices, it's how you bring those characters to life and how you really, you know, put your own spin on, you know, what you think this person would be like, their character. You know, it's more about creativity and being, you know, having a good imagination and just also having, you know, the will to expand, you know, your palette of voices, and also just like expand the, you know, you have to have courage to do these different types of voices.
Putting yourself out there.
That's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
And there's another thing that you guys have talked about, Tara talked about this too, was that there's two parts of it. You see the word voice, and then right next to it is another word, actor. Right? So these people are actors. If you ever watch a session, it's incredible. I've only seen a couple, but when they do it, they're fully engaged. It's very physical. Their arms are moving. They become their characters. So they are very much actors. So that's another component that you can also study acting. There's lots of people teaching acting. So it's very much a component of voice acting.
Yeah, so any amount of acting training that you can get will benefit your abilities as a voiceover artist. Because you have to realize that whole entire character, well, obviously the animators have something to do with it, but it comes to life in this kind of animation, which is called prelay, that's the way MLP is done, where the script is written first, then the actors record the whole script, and then they animate to what their actors' interpretation of it is. So the actors have to really be able to bring that character to life without you seeing facial expressions, without you seeing their physical self in any way. So it's completely and purely what they can emit with their voice. And acting training really helps with physicality and getting all that. And then when they're around a microphone, you know, that's what happens. So you have to put yourself into it. This gentleman here.
I have a question, I guess, for Michelle's parents, mostly. Whenever you guys first found out about the mermaid community and that it's mostly adult men, that's probably not what you expected from My Little Pony.
No, it was a surprise, but...
Were you guys all hesitant to come to convention or anything?
You know, I'll tell you, when I first discovered that there was such a large fandom starting to build up, because Michelle done quite a few shows and lots of screen work, and so I was just looking up something one day. I forget what I was actually searching for online, and I was on YouTube looking for something, and I came across accidentally this video of Hush Now, Quiet Now, which we hadn't even seen because in Canada everything's like a year, well I think it's catching up now, but originally we were a season behind of what you were seeing in the US. And so we hadn't even seen the stuff she'd done on the show, and she'd done quite a few shows. We had, like, I think it took us 2 years to ever see the Charlie Brown stuff. I had to order a copy from Amazon in the US to even see it. Like we often, you know, Michelle shot a movie last year called Killer Among Us, and a fan sent a scene of her voice overdubbed in Spanish that had played in Spain, and we've never even seen it in English. Well, we just got a copy of it now, but they don't come back to you and go, by the way, would you like a copy of your work? You have to actually seek it out, you know? So MLP's been easy, obviously, because everything's online, so we can find it. But one day, I was looking for something, and I came across this video of Hush Now, Quiet Now, and I went, wait, that's a song Michelle sang. I remember when she was 10, when I took her to the recording session for it, and it had 500,000 views. And I remember counting the digits in the number going, wait, is that 500 and looking at what? So then I was fascinated. Who's watching this? I mean, we haven't even seen. No, I didn't faint, but I remember saying, Michael, she was asleep. And I went, Michael, look at this video. And so then I started reading the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments.
I'm sorry.
And anyway, no, it was okay. The comments were really positive, and I was like, but then the next question was out loud to Michael. Who are these people? This is not kids writing this. I could just tell by the writing it was more, more sophisticated and just didn't sound like kids. And
I thought you fell over there.
Well, there's a ridge on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, folks.
Anyway, so I looked into it, and then we learned there was a story in one of the major news publications about bronies. And shortly, a few months later, Everfree Radio contacted me and asked if they could interview Michelle, and I went through the agent and found out if we were allowed to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And then after she did that interview, then it just, kept going like this. So by the time, I think your question was about the first convention, that all happened, it was a year and it was like, I think it was like almost a year later by the time a convention it was Everfree Northwest in Seattle last year was the first one we went to. And we honestly didn't really for sure know what to expect, but we'd already gone to the season finale of, which finale was that one? The Royal Wedding?
Royal Wedding was season
that was that finale was last spring, right? Yeah. So we went to that with the Vancouver Bronies, and we went to a Vancouver Bronies picnic. So we already started to meet a lot of fans, and I think we were pretty fine by the time we went to
So
Seattle.
by the time we got to Seattle, we had an idea. We hadn't ever been to a convention, so a year ago actually. We went to our first, and then we got to really experience it. We had such a great time. This is what it's about. It's been good. It's been really good.
Yeah. And then there was a question back there. Okay, gentlemen. Yeah.
I had a question about Apple's accent. I'm from Tennessee myself.
And she's studying with you, man.
The question I had is her accent based on general Southern accents, or is it a specific regional accent?
Did you hear the question?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I did. I originally did quite a thick accent, like Ashley's, because they had already cast Ashley when I auditioned, and they showed me the voice in the email that they sent me for my audition. And so I went in and did that, but then Terry, our voice director, said, can you do it young and not, they didn't want it too Southern, they wanted it like the next generation, just a little bit more mild, So I did that, and they liked it. So I don't know, it's just kind of like, it's really high, you just kind of keep the range and you can take it.
Let's ask him. What do you think of the accent? Any notes or?
Actually, it sounds a lot like where I grew up. I was born in Kentucky, and actually around the Middlesboro area back in the hills.
Oh, thank you.
Because sometimes people post comments on YouTube, I've seen, and they go, that doesn't sound southern.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I was gonna ask, for the Hearts and News Day episode, everything you obviously had to report that, did you do that all in one session? Or was it like specific sections put up over different days, or?
The song?
Well, because she did, Apple Bloom's voice and singing for Sweet Belle and all that, so was that all one session, or was that split up over a few days?
Yeah, I think it was one session.
It was, okay.
The episode was definitely one session. The song might have been split up a little bit, because usually Daniel and I do a demo first, and then we do the full thing in the studio. And sometimes there's pickups too. Sometimes, even Hasbro might not like one line and we have to change it. So, yeah.
But the way they do it usually is that if there is a song in that episode, then she gets booked for more hours that day, and it is usually done in one day. And then if it's a song that both Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom sing, then they do it where she sings one character and then they switch and go do the other character. That's how you do Kitty Murphy Crusaders too, right? Yeah.
Alright.
Do you have a favorite song you've sung?
Favorite of the songs we've sung on My Little Pony?
Yeah.
I do really like the Hearts and Who's Day one, just because they're just so innocent, and they're just like, just some of the lines are so fun, like French leaves with rose of joy. Oh, I might have been Sweet Belle, but anyway, just like it's so funny. I love.
For me, it's the time between what you said and the backseat.
Yeah, Babsie's fun too. I like Babsy. Yeah.
Oh, my first question is, have you made friends with any while working on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic?
Yeah, definitely. Maddie and I and Claire are all really good friends. And all the voice actors too, like all the adult voice actors, I've grown very close to them because, they're kind of like family now,
Friendship is magic.
Yeah, friendship is magic.
Well, and interestingly enough, because of the fandom, and because we've been doing a lot of traveling to the various fan conventions, we've gotten to know the voice actors on this show far more. Because when you do a TV show or a movie, you really work in depth with people for long hours every day. But voice acting is so much more condensed that you might see them once a week or every few weeks for a few hours, and you do get to know them. But now we've really gotten to know them because we travel with them. We do, we're all over the place together. Michelle's the youngest, and then Claire's a few months older than her, and then Maddie's 3 years older than them. And then after that, everybody else is adults. But the adults have been awesome to the kids. Yeah. Sorry, I'll come back to you, but I promise this gentleman we can't.
What would be the funniest thing that happened during a session that you remember?
Oh, yeah, see, the thing is that we get this all the time. But there's no single moment because we just have so much fun all the time. But one of my favorite things that we always do in sessions is Peter and I, my dad and I created a hippo that was like this king hippo that ruled the land once upon a time. Because I don't know.
There's a bit even more history to that.
Yeah.
Michelle, because the hippopotamus is my favorite animal. When I was little, I indoctrinated her into really thinking that hippos were very cool. I talked about them. I asked them for Christmas, so I have a whole collection of hippos up on my desk. Right? And everybody gives me.
Hippo from the video game Punch Out.
Yeah, so they're everywhere, And so when the poor girl, when she was about grade 2, she did a kindergarten it was, and all the kids, they were asked, at the top of the page it was, I am thankful for. And every kid had to draw, or a picture or a thank you.
Or
It was thankful for my mommy, I'm thankful for peanut.
They had to fill in the blank. I am thankful
and
for.
And so Michelle, she brought it home, we just fell on the floor. She went, I am thankful for the hippos. Yes, I successfully
Now I have a mental image of Apple Bloom drawing hippos and being thankful for them.
Anyway,
she started Peter, and now Peter and I, when we're bored, we just go on about adventures of Lord Pilot and how, you know, he was so involved and created such a rich, you know, agriculturally, you know, just like his community, and he led, you know, the Eastern.
Why are you looking at me?
Anyway, so we go on and on, and so we do that every session, and that's one of my favorite things when I go to a session, because Peter and I always talk about Lord Pilot.
The leader of the hippos. He was a great hippo leader.
Yeah.
Was it you I said I'll come back to?
No, it was that gentleman.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, the blue shirt. Yeah.
Blue shirt.
It's
Oh,
you.
no, I think that's him. Okay, we'll go da. Okay.
Blue shirt.
I'm sorry if I pronounced the song, but the one where they're singing about Shirley getting her
Hearts and Music, yeah. Or Perfect Stallion. Sorry.
I don't know if maybe someone played this out or if y'all know already, but when they're singing the song and when they're describing, you know, the role of DPM, on the he's too old part, I think they interrupted his funeral.
It looks like it on the video. There's like a
casket in the background.
Yeah,
I know the casket.
This one's too old.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Looks like they're addressing a few.
I think the animators must have.
I think that was a mistake. I don't think
Dark comics, bro.
Yeah. Well, you know, the animators I think really do like to put in, you know, just little tidbits here and there because they, you know, they actually enjoy putting in stuff for you guys to find too that the kids won't necessarily notice. So maybe that was the motivation there. I don't know. Now I said you, yeah.
Just before I ask my question, I want to point out that Lord Pillow and Apple Bloom, there's probably going to be a fanfic about that now. It's gonna happen.
No, but I have the authentic Lord Pilot statue is in my basement, and he's up on a shelf. And it was a Christmas present.
You should tweet it.
I should take a nice picture of it.
Yeah.
And he has a very elaborate headdress. It's quite
He's very modest, you know, he's a very modest fellow.
It even says inscribed on him.
I am no hero, I am just a hippo.
That's right.
And then this gentleman here in the black shirt.
Part of the image for you.
Oh, okay.
You said you're friends with little voice actors, and you have your own YouTube channel. Do you have any plans or wants to do any side projects with any of the other voice actors?
Well, we had Claire on Speedy and Stretch, and Maddie was going to be on it too, but then she had to go to Europe on a volleyball trip.
Yeah, well, she still wants to be on it. Yeah.
We'll probably do some this summer. And yeah, so
yeah, Claire's been on a few episodes, and also
She jumps on an old person.
it looks like it. Why would they do that? And they've got like candles and everything. That I did not notice that.
Sorry, and then further to that question, Andrea Livman actually sang in our concert last Friday in Vancouver. And yeah, Claire said, Maddie said she'd be, and Peter Newton also said he'd be interested in doing. So yeah, I think there'll be more.
Actually, we might do some Lord Pilot with Peter on video.
Yeah, we'll do it. You guys were laughing about Lord Pilot. That'd be awesome.
Do you ever have a family game night where you just play Hungry Hungry Hippos?
Well, we always have family game nights.
You know, I have Hungry Hungry Hippos on my iPhone. And you know, it's
But we need the one that we're there.
yeah, that's the best. You know, you got the little fat hippos in your, yeah, see, we should get that. But we have this place. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
You, sir.
And I mean,
Yes.
all right. Are you enjoying school now? Do people know that you're an actress?
Sorry?
Do people know that you're an actress in school? Do your peers know?
Well, I left the school that I was at from kindergarten to grade 5, in grade 5.
So now you're homeschooled?
Yes. And then that's it. And
Lots of old school people here, right?
Yeah. And then that's before I filmed the Disney movie. Because there was no way, I was already missing a lot of school for theater and stuff and other projects. So as soon as I got the movie, I was like, I can't handle this, right? Especially because it was IB. Anyway, so we did, we've been doing homeschooling. But they still know Like they know why I left, and I sometimes see them. But mostly at my dance school, because I'm still there, obviously, and I've been there for quite a while, so yeah.
Thank you.
Just a quick question, did Lord Hippo, was he inspired by King Hippo from Punch-Out, or was that just random occurrence?
The what?
The Lord Hippo you were talking about in your story, was he inspired by King Hippo from Punch-Out, or is that just coincidence?
No, hippos have been sort of
pure coincidence.
Yeah, I think pure coincidence. But hippos have really been our main focus. Working quite a while,
Someone needs to make my little hippo.
Just a quick question. Who generally gives you your direction when you're doing your voices? Like, I know a lot of bad voice acting comes from people who aren't familiar with the scripts and they just throw out a line. Like, who do you normally get your direction from? And are they really good about telling you, okay, you need to sound surprised here, this is a shock, or, as a shock that you just jumped on a casket or something pulling back there at a funeral. But you know what I mean? And who's giving you your direction?
Well, we've had the same director for 5 years for this show. His name's Terry Clausen, and the problem is that with voice acting, you never really get to know the director because they're so sort of hidden in the process and everything, but they're so important, to any.
You mean the fans don't get to know?
Yeah, the fans don't get to know because, that they're sort of hidden. They're like the hidden key to the show. And Terry is fantastic. He's been directing us for a long time. And he directs Martha Speaks too. And he is always there. It's always in the studio, just like our producers, Gina and Jason. So they're always there to, give us notes. And they trust us too by now, they let us do things, that other directors wouldn't let us sort of improvise a little bit. But overall, he totally directs the sessions and makes sure that everything's on track. So yeah, he's a big part of it. Just you guys don't know about him.
As much,
Yes.
What do you believe you would have been doing, like, if you never decided to pursue a career in voice acting and singing and acting?
I'd be dancing. So, but I am still dancing. So that's what yeah, right. Okay. Well, yeah, that doesn't count. All right. I still will be dancing. I don't know. I love hockey. I don't know if I'd pursue it as like a career though, because sports are just so dangerous too. I find that.
Baseball, wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling. No,
And it's also really hard, on the body, and sometimes hard to do other stuff.
Concussions and leg breaks. I'm not a doctor.
Were you also talking about politics at one point?
Politics. Especially, I would probably be a lawyer because I love debating. I love, proving my points.
Yeah, I would feel sorry for anybody who had to debate against her.
You should run for prime minister.
So, first of all, I want to say that you are being filmed for Ponyville Live, so I guarantee you something hippo is going to show up.
I'm counting on you. Yes.
And my question is, honestly, as much as we would like it to, My Little Pony is not going to last forever. And so I'm curious, did you have any plans for after the show, or have you thought about that yet?
Well, I've always had other plans. This was never my plan to begin with. It just sort of happened, and I'm thankful that it did. But this is not the only thing I do. I do other stuff and like other voice acting even. And this is just happens to be the most successful. But I still do exactly what I'm doing, and just obviously not, wouldn't have the opportunity to go to conventions. But hopefully, you guys, all the bronies out there are very, sort of committed to the show, and also, you guys have always been such great supporters of the voice actors. So I think that the brony community will never really die. The show might end, but I don't think what's happened in the meantime, like the fandom,
quickly.
Yeah.
Michelle's in a new series that actually has only come out in Australia so far. She's playing Wendy in the New Adventures of Peter Pan. And Matt Hill is Peter Pan. some of you are familiar with him
Wow.
from MLP. She did 2 movies last year, one that came out at Hallmark, on Hallmark, Smart Cookies, and then Killer Among Us on Lifetime. All her singing, her variety show on YouTube, other voice acting.
And like any other actor, most of the time she's out doing auditions trying to get more roles. And like any other actor, she might get 1 out of 20. So she spent a lot of time preparing for auditions, and then maybe luck getting 1 role out of God knows what the percentage is.
Yeah.
It's like any actor.
Same for any of us.
They work hard. They do a lot of auditions, and they occasionally get that's how it goes.
You know what would be cool? Playing a villain.
Yeah,
That's true. They're the richest roles, aren't they?
I think we should end after your question.
Well, yeah, we'll, I think we'll one or 2 more back there, but we will move on to singing, so I'll get you to. Go ahead.
There's been a lot of character growth in the show. Fluttershy is not really shining anymore. We have now and Flash is on the Underworld. Would you like to see Cutie Mark Crusader secret Cutie Marks?
I think it will happen. I can't tell you if it has or has not happened already. But I cannot confirm nor deny the fact that there will be the Cutie Marks, but I'd like them to. I'll tell you that. I think that everyone's sort of waiting for that.
Matt?
I have the first taste of apple bloom with the Kepo Cutie Mark.
Yeah!
It'll be drawn.
Say if you want to. Just if you want to.
Thank you.
We can
take all the ratings. Perfect.
and we'll do like maybe 2 more questions and then get on to some singing. So come back up here, but go ahead.
Can I take a picture up to the camera?
Sure, you know what we'll do? Why don't we can do pictures at the end. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Could you recommend any good agent or agencies? Like do you recommend actual roles?
You know, it really depends on where you live, because, I mean, we can certainly recommend some in Vancouver, but you need to, ideally, you're going to find representation that's close to you, right? So, I mean, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but the number 1 things I can say is, if they tell you that you have to pay money to join their agency, then it's not legitimate. You do have to pay a small fee to join the online casting electronic submission system that the agents use, but that's like nominal. I think it's like $50 or $40 or something like that. There are like a couple of, just that actually, that thing. If you're doing screen work, you need a good headshot. But if they tell you you need to come see our photographer and that's going to cost you $1,200 for your pictures or something like that, then it's not legitimate. If they will let you go choose your own photographer if they're legitimate. They might recommend some to you, but if they're trying to tell you that anything that they're doing is going to cost for sure money, and usually it's exorbitant amounts of money, and they'll tell you that they can connect you with all of these important directors and producers, whatever, none of that's legitimate. Those kind of companies or so-called companies are preying on people's dreams to follow a certain path, and it's really unfortunate. But real legitimate agents, you know, they're going to take you on if they say no, it doesn't mean you don't have talent. It might just mean that they already have the kind of skills that you have already in their roster. Like they won't take, you know, like if they've got a bunch of 13-year-old girls, they're probably not going to be looking for more 13-year-old girls because they want to keep the ones that they have busy. So you might not fit a hole in their roster, but if they believe that you have talent and they do have fit for you in their roster, then they take you on and they make their money when they book you work. Like when they send you out for auditions, and when you get a booking, they take a commission, and they won't do that work for you unless they believe that they're going to be able to actually get you bookings, right? So that's how it works. Did that answer the question? But no, it didn't answer how you can do it here. So you really, I guess you have to do some research here. You know what I really recommend? So are you from here?
Actually, I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth area.
No, okay, so that's another pretty big center. What I would recommend is try to find voice actors that are doing workshops. Like in Vancouver, that happens all the time. A lot of the people that are here teach voiceover workshops. Michael Dangerfield's done that. I do voiceover coaching. So does Kathy Westluck. Well, she's not here, but there's quite a few people that do that. Find some of the actors who actually do workshops. Then you get to know them, and then you can ask them who are the good agencies to pursue in your area. So you just really need to talk to some people who are in the know from whatever location you're at. Okay, so you guys, did I say there was one more? This guy in the green hat here, did you have one more? Are you good?
Well, unless there's another.
Was there anybody else who didn't get a task yet? Okay, go ahead, and then we'll go to singing.
Have you ever thought about joining ML Triple H? Major League Hungry Hungry.
What? What is that?
I have no idea if it exists, but it should.
I think I should join the supreme debaters of hippo history.
Where are you going with this?
I was going somewhere. I can debate all day about Lord Pilow's history and how he grew up, his days all the way from school to hippoversity. That's when I did start writing. It's like the first line is like a story of bravery, passion, and courage. Because he's such a brave person. He just did everything.
It was modest. It was humble.
Oh, really?
It was very Canadian.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys run the hip Okay, so we're gonna have some fun. This is what we did, when we were in Cloudsdale, as I mentioned, we did this, and we did a lot of fun. So first of all, how many of you are familiar with Michelle's recording Boy from New York City? Anybody? Okay. No? That's okay. Just curious. Okay. So have a listen. There's a great PMV done of it. It's one of the best PMVs I've ever seen. I was blown away when I saw it. I forget the guy's name. He's in England. It'll come to me. Anyway, you check it out. Actually, Michelle has a whole playlist of PMVs that have been made to her music on her YouTube channel, so you can check them out there. There's some great ones. But why don't we play it first?
Sure. You want to hear that?
That's good.
I don't know if I have that actually. Let me find it.
This one goes to 5, and then this one
Sure, I don't have the actual track. I won't check it out.
Okay.
Or do you want to sing it? Sing it?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start again, and we'll try again. Yeah, let's have her sing it live. Here we go.
Let's go forward one. Forward one, right there.
You guys can all come forward, actually.
Oh, he's really fine. Someday I hope to make him mine all mine. And he's neat and oh so sweet. And just the way he looked at me swept me off my feet.
Michelle. She can already hear the
No,
track.
good job.
Sorry.
Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to just break you quickly into 3 groups. So, can I hear that again for a sec?
On top?
Yeah. What channel?
I'll do the same.
Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, this is good. Okay. All right. So, what we want to do is break you into 3 groups. So, the best way. Who has sung in a choir or recorded or done something like that? Okay, good. So, all of the guys, the men who have not sung before, are going to be in Michael's group. So you're going to come over. Yeah, that's not it. That's the part that's going to be the easiest to get a hold of. So all guys who haven't done a bunch of singing are going to be in Michael's group. So can you kind of collect into this area here? And then. Okay, and then all the people that have some choir and sort of more experienced type stuff, I want you guys to be in this area right here. And all the ladies, or people that don't mind singing choir, into this area here, okay? And you're going to be in Michelle's you have a pretty small group. Right. Let's see.
Act the whole one act.
Yes, I will.
Would you like to fill this group? What to you? If you decide to.
And eat a sandwich. I ate it already.
Okay, so you guys, and you can even like switch up a little bit more. Actually, because this is really fun. Here, what I'm gonna do? This group here, let's switch you up and put you there because these guys are all squished, and then you guys can take over this side, okay? This one here. Okay, so bottom group, you're gonna go. Ooh ah, ooh kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. So it's ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Okay? So you're doing that with Michael. Let's try it, guys. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Faster. Ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Okay, hold that thought. Ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh ah, okay, sorry. And then the next line, I forgot to tell you, guys. So, ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. So, okay? Let's just do it again, the whole thing. 2, 3, 4. Ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Now, come on, kitty. Ooh ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Hold up. Ooh ah, and here's Michelle's group. You guys are my group. That's Michael's group. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh ah, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Okay, now we're gonna put it together. Ooh ah, you guys are all down there. Ooh ah,
some guys like to sing bass, they sing down here. Sarah likes to sing, or an octave up.
Either one's fine.
Also fine. Either of those octave. So this is a low note. Then an octave up would be. So who wants to sing high? Someone wants to sing up there?
It doesn't matter. So that's how you guys start. We're going to do one whole round, and then you keep going. We're going to build on the second time, and they're going to build on the third time. Okay? Let's pick up the speed of it. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, cool, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, cool, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City.
Okay, so that's what happens as the background vocals, and then everybody goes, yes. Everybody just does it together. Okay, so like that. Okay, let's try it together. Listen one time, and then you can join in. Listen. Nice rhythm. And then it goes, one more section. Everybody does that together. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, some more dips. Okay, so let's just put all that together. Around the top. Okay,
There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, ah, cool, kitty. Tell us about the boy.
Yeah, yours.
Sorry, give me the round note.
Okay.
Either one of those two. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, ah, cool, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City.
And one more thing, I'll stop you one more second. The big thing is, now, you gotta give it some energy, okay? So, actually, this is the same kind of energy that you need. These kind of tips that I'm gonna say right now are the same kinds of things that are really important if you are doing voiceover work or you are singing for an animated character. It's really important that you really have some clear diction and a lot of energy in your singing, so rhythmic kind of energy. So for example, I'm just going to use the part that I was singing, but ooh ah, cool, cool kitty, tell us about the boy from New York City. That's not going to read. We're not going to really feel energy from hearing that. We need to hear ooh ah, cool, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. So it may not be fast, but you need lots of clean consonants, clean diction, and just that real rhythmic energy to it, okay? So this time, let's have everybody stand. Let's just get the energy going on. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, ah, cool, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh, ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City.
One, two, three, four.
Ooh-ah, ooh-ah, cool, cool kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Ooh-ah, ooh-ah, come on, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City.
What's that?
I'm saying so long.
Yeah, that's fine. You can practice for today now. Where the zippers partly open there? Yeah, we'll be in there. The only time of it I will call you up. When we're getting to that song, I'll just say anybody who learned this song today wants to come and join us.
We did this at class, yeah. We had about 40 people on the stage because they practice just like this and they do a fabulous job. So I'm sure you guys will be the same. So tonight, 10:30, right? Let's do it.
It's only half of it, just the one time. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so just do that.
Might help you remember the track ones once you're done. Just to get the full one. Because they're going to be on tonight.
Right. Okay.
Okay, guys. Tonight we use this track. And it's going to be in this speed, right? It's going to be that long. On the top.
Clear those things? No, well, they won't go to the okay, let's just Oh, yes, please.
Nice.
Thank
That's right.
Oh, off the table.
My stuff. Where is
Is it
it?
better on hard surface? Oh, yeah, I can.
So we use them all over on cable, yes.
Okay, we're gonna run it one time where there's a voice on there too, and then you'll sort of get that fuller picture. And then I think it'll be time actually for a few more Q&As after. Oh, good idea.
It can be maybe. There's stuff in it. We should take that to the gear. No one takes it.
It'll be a little bit of a free-for-all. Okay, go to that bridge then, we'll just skip that.
It'll be fine.
We gotta hire us up next thing.
But now the words go like this. He can dance, take a chance with a little roll. man's baby because he's a looker. So he can dance, take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker, but it's the rhythm of it, it's really cool. So he can dance, take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker. And you guys do. He can take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker. He can dance, take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker. Okay, let's try screw two. 1, 2, let's try everybody. One, two, three, four. He can dance, take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker. You guys are fast, okay. And then these, you can really dig into it a bit. So he can dance, take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker. Okay, let's try it. He can dance, take a that part. Where's the lyrics? One, two, three, four. You can dance, take a chance with a little romance, baby, because he's a looker. And then, that last line is sweet talking and cool. And you let that fall off. So it'll be sweet talking and cool. Sweet talking and cool. Sweet talking and cool. Okay? Hey, I'm not bad. Yeah, we're not bad. So when I came, just can you back it up a little bit, Michael, from
You never take a chance with a little rope. Man's made because he's a girl. Sweet talking and cool.
Okay, so I think we kind of have it. That's good. Now, all the stuff that you guys said earlier, did we kind of cover everything? Or is there any whole segment that we didn't do of what we said we would do?
Hush now, quiet now.
You know, to be honest with you, we did ask before whether we did ask before Hasbro if Michelle, sorry, thank you. If she could sing some songs from the show, and at that time they did say that she could not. So I think we will ask again at some point, but right now she actually it's not allowed But we will check. Everybody, 4 minutes if there's any more questions.
Yeah, we got a question.
Okay.
Have you read the official MLB comics? Because there's an Apple Bloom or a hippo dressed as Apple Bloom in it.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Amazing.
I would like to hear what you think Hippo Bloom would sound like, and also, are there any other accents that you do other than Southern?
Oh, yeah, we all do a bunch of different accents. I don't know, okay, so the first question, I don't know.
Sing Hippo Bloom voice.
Two things. You did a great cover of Me with Black Griffin.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if maybe there's a chance you would sing that during the concert. I don't know if you play.
Well, you never know.
Maybe there was a chance.
Unfortunately, we can't include it with Black Griffin because he's in East Timor right now. But he is actually he's coming back soon, so there is a good chance he'll be performing us with
And the second question was, in that song, I was thinking, that was very professional quality. Do you go to a studio for that? Do you just do that at home?
I record that by dad. Do you know where my
Yeah, well, I mean, just sort of for that recording, on Travel, there's all different studios in it, but that particular recording, Andy Stein, Band of Pony, recorded the bass and the guitars and the drums at his studio in, I forget where it was. So yeah, anyway, he did it at his home studio, then Michael played the piano in his studio, and then we did Michelle's vocals in our studio, and then Ashley did his vocals. So that was a real all over the place one. But some of them, a lot of the songs on her album were in our studio, but then we also went to several other studios depending. That one was from Daniel Ingram's studio, Brian Adams' studio, and then the Armory, yeah. So it's quite a few places.
I don't want to derail this, so if there is like to go first, but I was wondering if I could get a picture with your family.
Oh, sure. We'll do some pictures right there down here.
Is that all we got? On stage?
Bye, guys. Maybe you just have a couple more minutes.
I got a little tired of managing after a while, after like 4 years of doing it, so. But I still loved it, but Dorothy was my favorite.
Did you enjoy your role in Supernatural?
I did. I loved working with everyone on Supernatural. It was really fun.
It's the only time you've had to die.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for the parents.
Did you like Jess Mack?
Yeah, he's nice. Yeah.
You actually, it was so hard to watch her in Supernatural.
Well, it's hard to watch it in it, but it's also hard to watch her film it because you're right there where they're filming it, and they have to do it over and over again, and then they stop the heart monitor and they do that whole thing over and over. It's like, oh, I felt completely wrecked by the end. I watched her die 20 times that day.
You'll be ready.
Really?
Yeah, he did an animated.
Jensen?
Yeah, there's that name.
Oh, I
don't know, maybe they'll hire him somewhere.
Yeah, the voice actors have very little say in that kind of thing. Yes?
You play
Yeah, I play a bunch of instruments. I play piano, drums, guitar, bass, ukulele. I don't know, I used to play alto saxophone.
Someone's gonna animate that now.
And if anybody, if you've seen the Black Griffin video, he's got it on his channel, but it's just the song. On Michelle's channel, there's one with both of them in a video of it, and there is some footage of her playing a drum solo actually from what was that called in Cleveland last year? Cadillac Gardens in Cleveland. There's some footage of her doing a drum solo. And then, have you guys seen Black Griffin do the backflips off stage and stuff? Yeah. So when he comes, he's going to do that. And last question.
I heard that Claire Collette doesn't do Cleveland's same voice because that's true.
Yeah, she just doesn't.
No,
singing and
that's not quite true though. I mean, it wasn't her favorite thing to do, but ultimately it's the producers and directors' choice as to who they're going to get to sing it. Didn't she sing 99 Buckets?